and welcome back to Current Calamities, where I take a break from the past to look forward to the future with the games of the present. Feel like I'm having deja vu right now. I'm back in the basement where I started this whole show, and you remember the first game I did? Breath of the Wild, of course, and it's only fitting I start this 6th season by talking about the sequel. The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, the long-awaited follow-up to the launch title that put Nintendo back into the good graces of many. I was there when it happened, and man, was it something. It was also something to buy my first $70 modern game. You think I'd complain about it more, but I've bought games for more than that, I'm sorry to admit. Like I said, I played the first game and had a good time with it. Never finished it, but I enjoyed my time. Kinda curious how it would be on the Wii U as it came out on that too. Would have been funny if they ported this to it since they look the same, but I'm assuming its expansion to the sky was too large for that failure of a system to handle. So us Switch owners get all the spoilers. I got this game on launch day, but had to wait to really dive into this whole new adventure. And today's the day I get to see why Hyrule weeps. We return to this world kind of with a cautiously somber tone. Zelda and Link, or Link and Zelda, are exploring the undergrounds of Hyrule Castle to see where a source of a gloomy mist is causing illness to the inhabitants. But I can't help but notice that I'm incredibly buff on hearts. Makes me think I'll be fighting a boss off the bat, but all I encounter are whatever the equivalent of a bat is in the Zeldaverse. We end up finding some ancient hieroglyphs that tell the story of Hyrule's origins and some great war that came after, and no surprises if you guess that we eventually stumbled into trouble. We find some sort of mummified being who awakens to wreak havoc, put Link back to square one, as well as lift the castle from its foundation and put the kingdom in turmoil. We both get separated in the chaos as the princess seemingly teleports, and Link gets saved by a glowing, bony hand. You know, the typical stuff. Link awakens someplace else with a voice telling him that whoever it is replaced his arm as it got the worst out of the mummy's beam, also discovered the Master Sword is ruined, and I make it worse when I use it to get out of here. This place gets me semi-prepared with what I'll encounter in the future, as I have these green interactables to touch. I find a piece of clothing, and it looks like the only way out is down. And with that, the game and our latest adventure has begun. With a kerplunk, we find ourselves on the floating islands that were heavily advertised for the game, but it felt like more of a tutorial level the first time you're around. At least I hope you'll be able to go back and explore other areas. I didn't get too far to find out, but if this was all, I'd be as pissed as the guy saying to not buy this game because it's overpriced DLC. Still looks nice though. Even though these graphics are like 6 years old by this point, I still love exploring the unique ruins as it looks something out of my childhood. Going to Indian ruins with my mom's mom? Think I know how Miyamoto felt now. The feeling of exploration has never been stronger, and I dedicated a good majority of my time just wandering around and refamiliarizing myself with how the game plays, as it has been a while. But these steward constructs can be found all around the area, providing progression as well as helpful tips from time to time. That's good and all, but they didn't warn me about this happening. Oh shit, oh god, I'm setting this whole place on fire! Hi-ya! Took care of that. I think I learned real fast as I figured out how to effectively hunt and the best combat strategies. But I was able to fit the plot in a little more. Arriving at the door to the Temple of Time, it looks like we're not powerful enough to enter just yet, but this goat ghost, who we can call Rauru, points us in the direction of the shrines, and there's 3 of them to tackle, but that's what we have to do. The shrines early on are ways to teach us new abilities that our new arm possesses, the first one being the Ultra Hand. Oh, Nintendo. I see what you did there. This ability allows you to pick up loose objects and move them in any which way you like so you can progress. You can also connect and disconnect objects as you sometimes see fit, and once you're done with the shrine, you'll find practical uses of your new ability so you can keep getting used to it. Oh look, the Koroks are back. Looks like I gotta help this guy get to his friend. Only one way to do it. My work here is done. Another arm ability I learned is Fuse, which takes weapons and objects and fuses them together to ideally make a stronger weapon. This is exactly what I'll need, as I'm a bit weapon happy at times, so I'm ready to show them what for. Can still die, huh? Thank God I'm the hero of time and can just start where I left off. I played some more on my own and discovered caves, new collectibles, and the ability to ascend and recall, all in a cold environment. In between, I figured out how to effectively hunt these weird-ass ostriches and find out that Koroks can be hiding anywhere. I do find Zelda briefly, being as cryptic as ever, but returning to the temple brings the reward of trading all my light of blessings for a heart container. Hope it was worth all the hassle. I'm left on my own from here on out, and it seems I gave my broken Master Sword to Zelda on the other side. I have no idea what's going on there, but I made the great leap back down to Hyrule Kingdom where mostly everything is in ruin, but I did take a quick moment to wreck some fools with bomb flowers. I meet up with some old friends to fill them in on what has happened, and they in turn tell me what's going on with the castle. It's a bit of a mess, and it seems to be getting worse if the moon is any indicator. But I have better things to do, like getting shot into the sky to scan the area for a map Pura is making, and they want me to explore some sort of strange phenomena happening in other regions. And that's where I left off. I got a little sidetracked actually. I found this bokoblin base and I'm trying to take it out. Unfortunately, I think I'm very underpowered to do so at this moment in time, as I'm pretty much getting one hit killed either in combat or by stupid means. So we'll just get back on track. Never mind, I found a smaller group to kill. This journey is a bit slow, I'll admit that, but taking it at this pace is allowing me to explore my ability and creativity. I've heard people compare this game to Gary's mod, with Ultra Hand allowing you to craft being like the physics gun in Gmod. It's a near spot-on comparison, and the humor is there with some of the things I've seen created. But the difference being, while Gmod is an open sandbox, Link is still confined to his little open world, and not everything can be funny here. I don't know how to boat. Hang on. What's going on with this tree shadow? Oh, Jesus Christ, that's an enemy? Shrines by this point are more like typical dungeons, providing a simple or thought-provoking challenge for you to complete. They do on occasion introduce something new, like how a flame makes a balloon float.
And would you believe this would come up later, when it was time for plot?
I found Impa off the trail and she's wanting to observe these geoglyphs, but her hot air balloon isn't up to snuff, but we fixed that easily and now we must solve a riddle relating to the geoglyph. It didn't take long for me to connect the dots when we're talking about tears, and this flashback of sorts suggests there may be some sort of time travel element going on here. Don't think that's much of a spoiler. Hero of time and all that. Last few things of note I did was fight some more bokoblins, find out what these Korok seeds will be good for with Hestu, and mount a horse.
Yes, my mother would be proud.
That's as far as I was able to get with several hours of time in, and I'm not disappointed at all. I spent most of that time exploring and enjoying what the game has to offer, and there's a lot to enjoy as you've seen. Now I get to experience a whole different aspect of the game, naming my horse. It isn't blue, but I think going for one of my favorite songs of all time will suffice. So with all that being said, what's my overall opinion? This is taking me back to a simpler time, when I was just getting started with this series, and 60 episodes later, it's like we're beginning all over again. Only this time the game has expanded to greater heights. Tears of the Kingdom thus far has brought me back to the Hyrule I first found in Breath of the Wild, with great visuals, gameplay, story, and new mechanics to keep things fresh like Majora's Mask did decades ago. Again, the argument that this sequel adds nothing new is a terrible one. This will no doubt be, or will soon to be, a summer blockbuster that everybody will be getting. Too bad I couldn't snag that collector's edition, then I'd have more to talk about, but the game really does speak for itself. Only thing missing now is 1-2 Switch being the next game after this to look at, but I doubt they'll be making a successor to that anytime soon. Well, weirder things have happened, haven't they? So what do you think? Do you agree with me, or have your own thoughts? Let me know by leaving a comment. If you like what you see, like the video with those thumbs up. If you think anyone else would like this vid, share it around. And if you want to see more of me, this show, and others, hit the subscribe button. I'm BrianTheBlue, thanks for watching. I'm going back to the past, and until next time, I'll see you in the future.